website, yeah, it makes me feel weird. I feel bad.
Welcome to another episode of Pop Culture 101. I'm Corderro McMurry, and joining me is comedian, writer, and producer Steve Trevino. Thank you so much for joining me, Steve. How are you?
You're welcome. Pop culture. I don't know. I mean, I'm in that old group, right, with all the married people. I don't know if I'm part of pop culture. My nieces the other day said, they go, say less, and I go, what? And they go, no, it's the thing we say. And I was like, I don't even know what they say anymore.
Right. Between
that's how married I am.
I love it. I love it. Now you're currently on tour. Talk about that and what it's been like doing stand-up comedy during the pandemic.
Well, you know what? I mean, it's good to be back on tour. You know, I was found to be unessential, which hurt, you know, and they sat us down and I wasn't able to tour and it's funny because life gives you these things where you get taught lessons, and one of those things was I was like, oh my God, I'm tired of being on the road. I'm tired of being on, running around the country and I just need a break. Well, they gave me one and it made me realize that I love doing stand-up. I love being on the road and it was just gave me an appreciation for my life and what I do. And we sat there and then all of a sudden Texas let us go back to work and I started talking about my life in quarantine and all the things that I was going through and everybody seemed to relate to that. So we decided to film a special right in the middle of a pandemic and put it out there. And it's definitely a stamp in time. And I will say that now it feels like there's a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel and people are starting to go out and people are starting to go back to somewhat normal. But I think stand-up's important, and I don't think that I'm unessential. I think people need a night out. People need to laugh. People need to have a good time, and I'm happy to provide that. So it's been good.
Good. And you do provide the comedy relief I think that people are looking for. I watched the special My Life in Quarantine, and I just have to say you hit a lot of the jokes and a lot of the stories right on the button. You talked about a lot of things I think that we all had to do or are continuing to do in this pandemic, as far as hand sanitizing every 2 minutes, every time someone sneezes or coughs, and really trying to find something to do to keep yourself busy because we're all working from home and things like that. How did you kind of just come up with this idea and connect those two things?
Well, I mean, my comedy specifically is always about waking up every day and the day-to-day man and woman that live together and are married. And, when I went through the quarantine, depression hit in pretty hard for me. And my wife looked at me and goes, we're all going through it. It's not just happening to you. And I think that was kind of the change for me, is that, oh yeah, we are all going through it. So if I can do stand up about what I'm going through, most likely everybody else is going through the same thing. And it really resonated and it's really made people reach out and go, oh my God, Steve, like I was going through the same thing you were. So it's just a really special moment for me. And for me, I always I always look for the positive and I always look for the waters, the glasses half full. And my wife and I through 2019 were desperately trying to get pregnant and really wanted to be pregnant. We had suffered a miscarriage and we weren't able to get pregnant. And all of a sudden during this quarantine, we got pregnant. And that was a blessing for us and something really special. And I had to talk about it and I had to get on stage and let people know that not only did it happen to me, but it happens to a lot of people. So that's another reason the special had to be made, in my opinion, and another way to relate to people that are going through the same things that we're going through. And at the end of the day, was 2020 bad? Yeah, but I wake up today to a beautiful crying baby. So I always look at things are half full. Thank you.
Yes, that's awesome. Yes, and no spoilers out there, but I noticed you said, God gave you, may not have given you a lot of things that you wanted, but you are thankful for the things that you do have. But he gave you a lot of necessities, things that you may need, and that just struck a chord. It really put the year into perspective.
Well, I always talk about that, and I always say that I am a spiritual man, and I always pray and I always meditate, and I always say that God doesn't always give me all the things that I ask for, but for some reason, the things that really matter, he does deliver. And I wanted a little boy, to carry on my name, and I wanted a daughter. And we did have a miscarriage before, and it hurt, but here we are with a beautiful daughter who we named Delilah Ray, and it all seems to work out. And I think having that positive attitude and having the attitude of I will continue to move forward has, for me at least, paid off.
Wow, beautiful. And now one thing that you do that is, just set the bar another level is you love giving back to the community, specifically through an organization called Helicopters for Heroes that benefits veterans. How important is this organization for you?
Well, you know what? It's one of those things where, I'm constantly getting hit up on social media. Can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? We have a GoFundMe, we have this. And I decided to really get my focus and focus on something that I truly care about, and that's our veterans. And what people don't realize is that we have lost more veterans to suicide than we have in the Vietnam War. And that is a problem. These are people who woke up and decided to volunteer to defend our country, and we need to make sure that we celebrate them and that we let them know that it is not weak to ask for help. So Helicopters for Heroes for me is a way to channel my energy, use my celebrity to raise money. And I'm proud to say that last year we raised $500,000, and 98% of that goes back to our veterans. So, it has been an amazing organization, an amazing weekend, and something that I can say, hey, this is what I do. This is where I use my efforts. These are the things that I care about. I mean, of course, I care about a million other things, but you have to take your focus and really zero in on something so that you can really make a difference. And that's what I'm trying to do with Helicopters for Heroes.
Awesome. And my last thing, you do a very great job of incorporating your wife, who you love, and you call her Captain Evil. I was just laughing at that. That's hilarious. And you bring your son on stage to tell jokes. You really incorporate the family into, what you do for a living. And that's not something that not a lot of people may see. How special is that to incorporate the family and not say, hey, this is me and my family's private? I know you keep some things, but how important is that?
Well, for me, I mean, it's very important because as a Mexican American, we are not represented well in the media. We are not, we are always the gardener. We are always the gang member, the prisoner, the help. And I wanted to show America a real Mexican American family that truly exists. And I think there's a lot of Mexican American families out there just like mine. And if Hollywood is not going to show my family on TV or in movies, I will. And that's exactly why I do what I do. And I also want to share with the fan, which I call family, all the people out there that support me. I want to show them the real Captain Evil, my wife, my family, my son, and let them know that the things I talk about are very real and very honest. And to me, honesty is important. To me, being open is important. To me, showing the world that this Mexican American family exists and that we matter and we deserve to be in media and on TV. So that's why I do it.
That was comedian Steve Trevino, everybody. He is on tour now, and more dates will be announced as venues continue to open. For more information, visit our website at christv.com. And before we go and head out, always remember, if it's pop culture, it goes through me. I'm Corderro McMurray, Chris 6 Sunrise.